It was a very good performance from him. I think that over the last couple of seasons on Monday Night Football, we've struggled to actually do anything different on Manchester City because we've basically seen the same stuff to the point where actually I think last season it went a little bit stale. And the idea of how they attacked, how they played. I'm just going to show you a clip from last season. It's James Milner and David Silva in wide areas, but usually it would be Samir Nasri as well. And they're building out from the back. And I'm going to provide a counter for what Jamie's just done in respect to. There's the Chelsea defence last season. All of them within a tight, compact unit, 2 banks of 4, because you have the City players flat 2 up front and the 2 coming in standing in pockets rather than arriving in pockets, and that's important. Don't stand in there, easy for a full-back. What I think we saw yesterday was actually a new Manchester City, a new balance, and I have to say what I thought I saw yesterday was a really mature, disciplined performance from Raheem Sterling. Wasn't spectacular, wasn't goals, wasn't lots of assists. And say from Navas on the right, but certainly from Sterling, his positional sense was immaculate. What he did on that side, it really was. He was fantastic. He absolutely gave Ivanovic a torrid time. But the difference in Manchester City is that now what they have is they have Silva in his best role, off the front in a central area. They have genuine width where players stay wide, stretch that Chelsea team that extra 5 or 10 yards, which creates the space that Jamie's just talked about in his piece, but then arriving into pockets rather than standing in there. It gives them the space to build up from the back. And for me yesterday, it was a really good shape of an attacking team from Manchester City. Just see Raheem Sterling now, just moving off the line. There he is, into a sort of position which is uncomfortable for Ivanovic. We'll take it forward. Ivanovic comes in and he has to then get back as David Silva now makes the movement in behind him. Really good play. Nothing comes of it this time. As it gets transferred to this side, how many times would we see Zabaleta isolated on this right-hand side? Now, we've got all of a sudden relationships on both sides of the pitch. Navas and Sagna, Sterling and Kolarov. He goes round Sagna as a classic overlap run. Plays it into the box. He's there on the last line of defence. Aguero wriggling, manoeuvring all day long, creating nightmares for the defenders. Nothing comes of this one, but that just gives you an understanding of this new, different Manchester City where the wide players are a little bit different. And the big feature for me in this first week of the season for Manchester City has been this. Silva, Sterling and Kolarov. Gone are the day, I can't, other than Baines and Pienaar in this last 3 or 4 years, I can't think of relationships that have been really good and long-standing between full-back and wide player, where you think, that's really good play, that. There are some teams have had it, don't get me wrong, but I can't think of one of the top teams that have really... I used to have lots of them. The Blackburn wingers and full-backs, when they won the league, they were fantastic. The teams that I played in, there was always relationships between full-back and wingers. Arsenal, between Pires, Cole, or Winterburn and Overmars. You always had that continuity. We're only 2 games in, so it's still got to be a little bit sceptical. However, I think it's really exciting what we've seen from Kolarov and Sterling, and it would be a nightmare to play against. If you're a full-back, you want someone to be stood in that pocket all the time with no penetration outside of you there. And that 3, if you're Everton or any team that's going to play Manchester City in this next few weeks, you better pay attention to that, because that is difficult to mark what we saw yesterday. It really is. And it leads to moments like this. And it was the biggest feature for me in terms of the game. In terms of